Welcome to this episode of Talking to the Dead in Suburbia. Today, our guest is Al DiGuido. Al has had tremendous success in his life, whether it's in the business world or with his foundation. He was CEO of Bigfoot Interactive, where he and his team built one of the most advanced email technology platforms on the market. He sold Bigfoot and became the CEO of Epsilon Interactive and then Zeta Interactive. Al received a calling to begin to leverage his talent and passion to helping children in need. He founded Al's Angels in 2004 to provide children battling cancer, rare blood diseases, and severe financial hardship with holiday meals and gifts. Over the last 17 years, the 501c3 nonprofit organization has expanded to more than 10,000 volunteers and has helped over 150,000 children and families in desperate need. So before we even begin, I want to thank you, Al, for doing what you do and bringing your expertise to helping children, to helping their families, because there's so many children and families in need out there. So, thank you on behalf of everybody.
Thank you. But I always say that this organization, though founded by me, is really a conglomerate of an incredible universe of people working together to get something done. No one person can ever get done what we've been able to get done, but I've been incredibly blessed by an enormous group of people who work together and we do incredible things.
Well, that's wonderful, but someone had to start it and you
Yep.
started it. You
Thank
know,
you.
what I
My
always
pleasure.
like to say is that, we all get these ideas in our head, and some of us act on them and some of us don't. But when we have an idea, it's through the collective unconscious, it spreads everywhere. And so
Yep.
you start an organization like this, you know, thousands of other people are also starting it. Like you get it out there and it spreads,
Right.
without us even knowing it. So, it's wonderful that you did begin it, but you had this illustrious, business career.
Right.
How did Al's Angels get started? Like, what inspired you to start this?
So I was a big, and still am a big football fan, Giant fan, and a buddy of mine who was in the business, he invited me to an event over 20 years ago now at the Hackensack Medical Center. Uh, he said, all the Giants are going to be there, all their wives are going to be there. You should come. I said, what's it about? He said, I really don't know what it's about. It's a fundraiser, but his company, CBS, had paid for a table and they needed an extra body. So he said, would you come? I said, yeah, great. So I went there that night. I remember it being a very rainy night and got there, and the room was filled, as he had promised, with a lot of Giant football players. And I got autographs, and it was a lot of fun. And there were people having cocktails and hors d'oeuvres. All of a sudden, a woman came to the dais and said, could we all find our seats and settle down? And she said, I want to introduce you to some women, and they're going to tell you the story of why we're here today. So I sat down next to my buddy Pete. And first woman came up and said, hi, my name is Betty. My son's name is Todd. He's 10 years old. He's dying of cancer. We have been wiped out financially. We can't pay our mortgage. We can't pay for clothes for my children. We are having trouble even making amends for bills and food. And all of a sudden, the room that was incredibly noisy went incredibly silent. And she walked off the stage. And another woman came up and said, hi, my name is Susan. My daughter's 9 years old. Her name is Charlotte. She's got incurable cancer. My husband has left us, and we're having a really tough time finding ways to pay for the very basic things, food, clothing, shelter. She walked off the stage, and two other women came up. And I leaned over to my buddy Pete, and I remember this like it was yesterday. I said, Pete, what the hell is going on here? What is going on here? He said, I had no idea. I said, no. Why are women, mothers with children who are dying of cancer, standing in front of strangers, begging for money for clothes and food and housing? Why is that happening? He looked at me like he was bewildered. I don't know. I said, what do you mean you don't know? That's not a good answer. You don't know. This is the United States of America. We spend billions and billions of dollars And mothers who've got dying children have to stand in front of strangers begging for money for clothes and food. He was bewildered. I was bewildered. So I remember that night I left, pouring rain, and I was driving my car on the way home. And all of a sudden, you ever been haunted? You ever been haunted?
You're talking to a medium.
So I don't know if you've been haunted, but you've been visited.
I've
You've
been
told,
visited.
okay. I was haunted that night with the words, "What if it were you?" on the way home. And all of a sudden, those words, and to this day, those words echo in my brain and my being. What if it were you? I was driving along. I started to think about my children who are young, in their beds, asleep and healthy, and my wife who is healthy. And I'd say, what would I do? How would I cope with life? How would I be able to handle that? And I literally came over a tremendous emotion, pulled to the side of the room and sat in my car for about 15 minutes, sobbing, uncontrollably sobbing. And all of a sudden, the thought came into my head saying, well, these mothers, these women, these children are part of the human family. And we have to do whatever we can to help them. So I went home that night, walked in the door. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning, woke up my wife. She was all that happy about that. And I said, Chris, we got to start doing something. And she said, what do you want to do? And then she said the infamous words, what do you want to change the world? I said, no, I don't want to change the world. I just want to try to do whatever I can for the people that I've met and help them raise the money they need. So this is the one thing in their life that they don't have to worry about. And Al's Angels was born out of that. And it was started with, we back in those days, we used to play Trivial Pursuit as a party game, right? You invite friends over, you play Trivial Pursuit, people bring cakes and wine and everything
Oh,
else.
you're so showing your age. I did that
I
too.
know. Well, it is what it is. A life well lived for sure. But so we said to people, listen, don't bring cake or wine or cheese or anything like that over. Just make a donation to Hackensack Medical Center. And I worked at the time for a big publishing company called Ziff Davis. And Bill Ziff was a tremendous philanthropist. And I went to Bill and I relayed this story. And he says, what do you want to do? I said, well, I'm running one of the biggest magazines in the computer industry. I know people like Michael Dell and Ted Wade and all these big guys. I said, I want to ask them for money to help. First full year, we asked them for money, raised $4 million for Hackensack Medical Center. Then in the second year, we raised $2 million for Hackensack Medical Center. Don Imus, who was a local shock jock in the area, he was involved in Hackensack Medical Center. And he started to do something that wasn't, I wanted the money, 100% of the money to go to these families. And he had other ideas about building ranches and stuff like that. So I left my being exclusive for Hackensack Medical Center and created my own 501c3, Al's Angels. Because to this day, Anna, I am haunted by those words. And all the things that we have done, all the places that I've been, thousands and thousands and thousands of children in numerous places, oncology facilities, cancer wards. I look in the faces. I have 7 grandchildren today. All of them, knock wood, are all healthy. But I look in those faces of those parents and I look in the faces of those children. What if it was me? What if it was you? What if it was anyone who's watching? What if it was your child? And you'd been wiped out financially. You don't have money for food. You don't have money for clothing. You don't have money for toys. It seems almost like every time I say it, it seems like people are going, nah, how could that be? This is the United States. This is one of the wealthiest countries, if not the wealthiest country in the world. How could it be that people are living that way? But they are. And I always said that God put me on this earth. And I believe the Holy Ghost spoke to me that night. Put me on this earth to use whatever talent I have to help as many people as I possibly could. And that's how the organization got started.
Okay, it's so wild how God will bring something to you in such kind of what you think is a random way.
Yep,
Okay. And I'd like to say that you're not haunted by those words, you're inspired by those words.
for sure.
The Holy Spirit inspired you to do this.
Exactly.
And because
Exactly.
you had all these contacts, you were a great person, and a great soul. to get this moving and going. And, the domino effect,
Oh, no doubt.
you help somebody, that person helps somebody, and then other people jump on, they want to volunteer, and you're getting money from here and there because you can, you've been graced. I think, that's absolutely wonderful. And I think what we've been seeing these days through COVID and, and the talk about how much, how many people are impoverished and, don't have, the means to get by. I don't think that would be so shocking to anybody anymore that people just don't have. Have you been seeing some
I
of
mean,
the
we,
some of the
well, I mean,
COVID?
for sure. I mean, I think what we started, I mean, we typically our work happens around the holidays, right? Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah. That's the other big thing. An angel is non-denominational. It's any religion. We don't exclude anybody from being an angel. But I saw that COVID in late March, COVID was taking people's lives, their livelihoods, their passion, their joy, and so many of these people were without the essential food items, right? So we're used to dealing in food. The amount of food items we do a year is incredible. So I said, listen, what are we going to do? We can't we can't sacrifice our fall holiday effort, but we got to do something to help these people. So we started a food drive, and we have a couple of stores, one in Westport and one in Fairfield, Saugatuck Sweets. We deal with children, ice cream and candy and all kinds of stuff. I said, what if we put some tables out in front of the store? And I started to reach into my network of people that I've met in Fairfield and Westport and other areas and say, listen, on Saturday from 11 to 5 o'clock, we've got these families and these different groups in the area that need food. And here's what they need. They need pasta, they need sauce, they need all kinds of different non-perishable items. And just bring it. And Anna, it's talk about God, talk about what God can bring and what God working through people. That's the important thing. We're all waiting for this like magic
Mhm.
bolt to come from the clouds. It's not going to happen. It happens through the inspiration of people. This week, this Saturday, we will we will mark the 40th week, 40 week of doing these food collections for families in need. We have served hundreds, if not thousands, of families with essential food on a weekly basis. Now, people have come with open up their car doors and gone shopping, and people are couponing. It's amazing. COVID took something away from a lot of people. And part of what they took away from them is not their desire to do good. They wanted to do good. They just couldn't figure out how to get it done. We showed them a way to get it done, and it's just been amazing. It's been inspiring because there are days when we start out 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and you got, one or two bags on a table. And then literally 3 hours later, you need to add more tables. And we're delivering into uh, shelters and churches and clinics all through the Fairfield County area, uh, to families that need food. I mean, isn't it wild when I say that to you, that people are walking around this earth today in this area within 15 minutes of where you're sitting, and they need food. They need food. They want a jar of sauce. They want a can of beans. They need that to survive. So we've made that point, and the response has been nothing short of amazing.
How do
It's
people,
really
like people on both ends of it, like the people in need and the volunteers, how do
yep.
they learn about you? Like how are you pulling them in?
Well, the marketing side of what I do, right? What I've done in my whole life, I've built this huge database of my customers. So I own retail stores. I own Al's Angels. There are, like I said, there's close to 6,000 people on the Al's Angels list, all within the tri-state area. So I'm a frequent emailer. And if people don't want to get my emails, they unsubscribe. But what I always provide in when I email is, here's how you can help. Are you interested? Are you sucking oxygen? Yes. Okay. Well, we need to help, and I can make a compelling. That's what when the Holy Ghost spoke to me. That's when God speaks to me on a regular basis. He says, use this talent, use this skill that you have to be engaging with people, to be a marketing guy, and market this need. And we've marketed this need. And the number of people that will come up to me on a weekend and say, I just want to thank you. I said, what do you want? Why are you thanking me? You're coming with the groceries. No, no, no. We wanted to do something. We couldn't figure out how to do it, but we've heard about this. And it's incredible. I don't think we'll ever end it because people just keep coming. And it's amazing. It's such a tribute to having faith, the faith in people. There's so much been lost, like I said, COVID. COVID to me has been a real interesting time. Interesting is an understatement. But what it has done to people is they're yearning, they're yearning for connections. And there are a good percentage of people who are yearning beyond just the familial connections. They're yearning for a connection with God, with their faith, with
Hmm.
people that need them.
Yeah.
And we're facilitating that.
Well, that's one of the reasons spiritually why we're going through this is to
Yep.
sit back and say, like, we live in this hurried up time. We got to do this. We got to earn money. We got to buy this. We got to buy that. And now, you look in your closet, you look in your garage. What are you doing with this stuff? You're not going anywhere, And
Exactly.
so you sit back and say, what is this really all about? I'm so blessed. I'm healthy. So what is this life about? What are we supposed to do? How are we, like, this social connection is not just on Zoom, is not just on the telephone. It's being with people, it's giving, because we're born to help ourselves, to heal ourselves and other people. Love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Exactly.
That's the greatest commandment. So, what is that? It means helping and loving and bringing people up. And what's also interesting, I hear all the time, oh, he's not spiritual, he's in business. It's like, what? Like, wait, for that's such a harsh judgment,
Right.
and what, in your case, you were so successful, but you used it, and you got to a position where you got to meet people who helped you create this wonderful organization. So you took it a step further, you
Yeah, and
know
I think what you said before about, I have the cars, I have the house, I have everything else. You start to realize at a point in your life,
who
I'm
cares?
64, exactly. And the joy, I say this to a lot of people about what we do. It has been my belief, it has been my kind of understanding. When I put myself in alignment with the will of God,
Hmm.
which is to help other people, doors start opening up. When I put
Yeah.
myself in alignment with the will of God. If I start to stray off the alignment of that alignment, things don't work out all that well. When people, and I've seen this, and it's such a blessing for me, when people have been involved with Al's Angels, I mean, I can tell you stories for hours of people that have put themselves in alignment with doing good, whether it's Al's Angels or a church or a synagogue or anything. When they put themselves in alignment with God and doing good, their lives change. I can sit here and talk to you about miracles that I've seen happen. I've seen miracles. I've seen not things not work out, but miracles around families whose kids were told they had the death sentence, who said, "We're not going to accept that. We're not going to accept that," and things changed. And the blessing I always say to God, you always, whenever I feel down in the dumps, or I get, I feel down in the dumps about what's going on, not going on. He always sends me a signal, and I always recognize the signal. Al, you thought that that was not going to happen. Magically, it happened. Why? Have faith in God. Have faith in the fact that there are forces in the world that are working and engineering things to do good. When you get in alignment with that, you are on the right side of the equation, as far as I'm concerned.
It also raises the vibration. And when
Oh yeah.
we raise that sacred vibration, people are attracted to it because they want to be a part of it. They want to be a part of the joy. They want to be a part of the love that is they don't feel in their lives. Okay. They want to be a part of, what's raising us up, whether they know that consciously or unconsciously. And so as you're raising, because your vibration is very high, because you're aligned with this wonderful vibration of God, which is pure love. So you're raising your vibration, and then people come around you and they raise your vibration, and then the blessings come in and the miracles. Like I always say, the miracle isn't walking on water. That's
No.
just a sideshow, okay? The miracle is touching somebody. The miracle is bringing love. The miracle is raising somebody up. And God does that through all of us. We are the vehicles to raise it all up. We're not these robots, because
No.
if we were, what a big mistake,
Well,
and we're not mistakes.
well, because I've been doing this for over 20 years, we get people come up to me at different events and say to me, you don't remember me. You probably don't remember me. I said, I'm sorry, I don't remember you. She said, but I was one of those families that you gave a meal to. Let me tell you what it was like when we didn't have a Thanksgiving meal and you guys showed up and gave us $100 worth of groceries for our Thanksgiving meal. And they tell you these stories. And and she said that changed my life. There's so many of those things that happen, and then I step back and I go, well, we really didn't change your life. No, 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 you don't understand. You changed my life. You gave me hope. We donated a tree in Fairfield at the center. I donated it, and when we went to get the approval for the tree, the town said it can't be called a Christmas tree. I said, well, it's not going to be called a Christmas tree. That's not the purpose. The purpose is it's going to be called a tree of hope. Tree of hope. And are we going to light it? Yes. But we're going to light it with all the people, the charities, colors that are out there doing things to help children in need. In the middle of the snowstorm, there are people that come there on a nightly basis to just spend time with it. They want that hope. They want that joy. They want that spirit. There's been such negativity, especially in this last year. Oh my gosh, such negativity. We have to be evangelists for hope. We
Mhm.
have to be people who do more than just talk about hope. We have to be people that actually exact hope and do something about it.
Yeah,
Excuse
absolutely. How did you come up with the name Al's Angels?
me. I get I get people to say to me, "Is that Hell's Angels?" I said, "I ride."
Yeah, I picture
I
you
said,
like on a motorcycle.
I said, I ride a motorcycle, so it's not Hell's Angels. Al's Angels. The name Al obviously because of me, but the angels, because when you look up the dictionary definition of an angel, the description is basically that angels are beings of God sent to do His will, to share love. I said, that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're doing. That to me is the most rewarding part of this, of what we're doing. When you see people, and I've been blessed to see them, when you go out and you touch another person, the connection that you feel is the most amazing thing in the world. I held a hand. I was in a hospital in Hackensack, actually, about 5 years ago. Walked in and heard a little girl about 12, 13 years old sobbing, sobbing. She was all alone. And I walked in, and her aide had just left the room. And she said, she's really in tough shape. I said, what happened? Well, we just gave her some bad news. I said, well, why aren't you in there? She said, well, we have to go do some other things, but we'll be back. Are you going to be there? I said, yeah, I'll be there. And I was dressed with Santa Claus. Okay. I walked in. I said, what's your name, baby? She said, Sarah. She said, I'm so afraid. I'm so afraid. I grabbed her hand. I said, you like to sing? She said, yeah, I do. I said, well, let's sing Jingle Bells. You like Jingle Bells? And she said, yeah. And all of a sudden, her whole composure changed. And you could see a small smile come from her face. For that brief moment, for that brief moment, we connected at an incredibly deep level, that girl, and we took away some fear. Most of the kids that we deal with are deathly afraid. They don't want to be in hospitals. They don't want to be in hospitals. The people that work in hospitals are really great people, but it's not home. It's not you. Your parents are got this tense look on their face, and I have hundreds of stories about that. But that child needed someone to say, "It's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. We're here for you. Be not afraid." How many times have we heard that? Be not afraid. I go before you always. So those connections are what I see as angel connections. When we do our bins, when we do our holiday bins up in Bridgeport, non-COVID days, we'd get 1,000 people there. And what we got accomplished in 3 to 4 hours would blow the average person's mind. filling 1,600 bins with $100 worth of groceries. Think about that logistically. But what I always said was when people walked into that building, they put their angel spirit on. There was never any crap, no complaints, no arguments, no nothing. It is the most incredible thing to see. And I invite you when the time is right to come. Because you will never see a collection of that many people working in such concert and with such spirit and such joy and such love all in one place. I've never seen it. People who come once are constantly sending me emails about when's the next one? Can we sign up? I want to bring my family. I want to bring my mother, my grandmother. That connection between an angel or angelic behavior, right, and doing good, incredible. And I'm what I'm most proud of. By the way, I'm born and raised Roman Catholic, but we got temples, we've got mosques, we've got these people. I always say to them, to the rabbis, maybe this is the way we're supposed to come together as a people.
Maybe, and recognize there's one God.
Yeah, it's one God. And are we supposed to be loving? Yeah, I don't care. I really don't care
Yes.
what you pray to. I really don't care. But together with the B'nai Israel and a couple of these other synagogues around here, what they have generated in terms of toys for us this year, Anna, we did over 18,000 toys. We did over 3,200 holiday meals. We don't have any organization. We don't have a big bureaucracy. We're a bunch of volunteers. When we're done, we're done. We go on to the next thing. We have no paid staff. Everything we do is volunteer. But what we have is we have God on our side, and we have a belief that people come together that says love one another, not love the people that you know, love everybody. Okay, so that message has resonated so deeply that I get emails every day asking people to sign up and be part of this stuff. It's an amazing thing for me to just. I'm well past the point of saying, well, alsangels, isn't it a great, wonderful thing? No, it's a movement of people sharing love, which is why wouldn't you want to be surrounded by that? I want to be
So
surrounded by that.
do your volunteers go into hospitals where
We
the
prior to COVID, we did. We would hold parties there. We'd bring Santa Frosty. We would go in to distribute meals, distribute toys for sure. We work everywhere from Yale all the way out to Long Island and the Bronx, all over. So yeah, we put not thousands, hundreds of people, but we put select groups of people to go there, and we had been going prior to COVID, bed to bed at a lot of these hospitals.
You know
So
what's so sad is, as a grief counselor, I can tell you that statistically in hospitals, dying patients or terminal patients are left alone between 15 and 20 hours a day.
yeah,
So, and maybe that's a little bit lower for a child, but not that much lower. And the nurses, if they, because we're human beings, if they think the person is dying, they spend time with the ones that they feel have hope. So it's a very sad situation,
very sad.
and to go into a hospital and spend time with a dying child, anyone who's dying, is so wonderful for them and their spirit, and to make them feel loved at every which way. And there's not enough volunteers actually doing that. Like, it's wonderful when they bring the dogs in and all of that, but
But you know what, though, Anna? I really do, because I've done a lot of that. And like this is the first year we haven't because of COVID and because of restrictions. But I think a lot of people are afraid. I
well, they're
think there's
afraid of death.
exactly. They're
Yeah.
afraid of death, and they're afraid of, oh my God, is there something catching inside that hospital that if I go talk to a child that's sick, that something's, I'm serious. There are people that would donate all kinds of money and all kinds of toys and everything else. No, 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 I don't, I really don't want to go in the hospital. Well, why not? Well, I don't want to see that. That's the other part. I don't want to see that. And that's what I'm hell bent on always is I've got to get you to understand what it's like to be a child sitting in a bed with all kinds of stuff plugged into you, and your mother or father can't be there all the time, and you're scared out of your mind.
Mhm.
I got to make you feel that, because when you feel that, then you'll say, what can I do? How can I help?
Yeah, but people don't do death well in this country. People, They can't, if someone's dying, they don't know what to say. They don't know what to do because we're in a culture where we feel like we have to fix and we don't understand death. And if I get too close to you, then not only am I going to feel bad, but I'm hurt. I'm hurt by this. So your loss becomes my hurt. We internalize that.
Yep.
And there's the feeling of, yeah, I have a belief system, but I don't really know if that's true. And why would God take a child? Well, God's not taking the child, and it's hard to get our head around that. And then once the person passes, they don't know what to say. They don't want to
Right.
bring up the name of the person, which is healing. Like to bring up the name of I mean, I work with a ton of people who have parents who've lost children horrifically, and they
Right.
want to talk about their children because it
Yep.
keeps them alive. But
Yep.
that's the biggest thing. How can I be around a child who's dying? It's so sad. What if I cry? What if I don't say the right thing? What if it hurts me? And that's part of us getting out of that and saying, well, you're healthy, you're good, your family's good. And this, if you give that child, a half an hour of smiles and laughter and feeling like I'm still a person because guess what? I'm still living.
Yep.
That means more than anything.
Yep. And you know what? I find that too many people say, well, the nurses are there, social workers are there. No, 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 but that's
No,
not
not the
what we're
same.
talking about. Not the same at
No.
all. Whenever I go into these hospitals, I've gone to those hospitals, you go into these rooms, they have superheroes, decals all over the walls and stuff like that. And I'll say, okay, but we're there to hold the kid's hand. I mean, I miss it tremendously. This year we didn't do it, but we're going to hopefully, with COVID and restrictions coming down, we'll go back to doing it because it is. And I do it, by the way, I do it around the holiday time, right? So here are these kids, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, they're all coming up. And I'll say, what I would always say to them is this: we're busting you out of here. You're leaving here. You're not sticking around here. And they would laugh, right? They would laugh. And we bring joy. When a sick child gives you a smile or laughter, oh my God, it's incredible. And the fact that you as an individual weren't thinking about yourself and how you would be impacted, right? But you were thinking about how your impact could help that child. That to me is where we all have to get to. We're all sitting down, hunkered into our homes, worrying about COVID. Go out into the world. You know what? God forbid, the day God wants me or you, He's going to take us,
Mm-hmm.
right? It ain't nothing we're going to do to prevent that. So until that day, we need to be using our talent, our skill, and our emotions and our heart to help other people. And that's what this is all about.
And it
People go, oh,
feels
it's a lot
good.
of work.
And
What?
we feel loved too.
Oh my God.
The more you
Oh my
give,
God.
the more joy you bring into your life. That's just the way it works.
Can I tell you one quick story? Okay.
Go ahead.
So Hackensack Medical Center. I go there every year, and it's sad, but you wind up seeing the same kids year after year because they're being treated. So I was dressed as Santa Claus. We went at the top level of the hospital. We went to all these rooms. Inevitably, you go into a room and the kid's not there. So when you go into a hospital, those have been in the hospital, they're overheated. They're
Mm-hmm.
on fire. The heat in those are incredible. So I'm sweating bullets. And we get to the end of the hall, and the nurse says, "Oh, Henry just went downstairs. He won't be here. Just leave him a gift." And so we had some stuff on our cart. I put a gift on the blankets of his bed, and I was heading the other way, going to the elevator, saying to myself, we're done. Now we're going to leave, and we're going to have some cool temperatures. While out of the corner of my eye, I see the gurney come out of another elevator at that end of the corridor, and I think I see them wheel the kid in, and I say to this guy, Tom, who's a friend of mine, who always wanted to do the hospitals. I said, Tom, we're going back to that room. He goes, you left the gift. I said, no, we're going back to that room. He says, why? I said, I don't know. We just got to go back. And Tom, if you know, Tom is a guy who's a composer of music for video games. And he always wanted to do this. He wanted to go to the hospital, be there. And he was there. So I walk into the room, kid sitting up in bed, totally bald. And I look at him, I go, geez, I know this kid. And he goes, hey, Santa, it's Henry. I go, Henry, oh my God. And he's ripping apart the thing that we got him that was on his bed. And his parents are standing there, and he goes, Santa, the kid, this is what you got me? I go, Henry, I didn't know it was you. He goes, yeah, but Santa, this is what you got me? It was like something not all that personal. I said, Henry, I didn't know it was you. I said, Tom, tell Henry what you do for a living. He said, well, I compose music for many of the big video games companies. And his mother screams, I told you it was Santa Claus. I told you it was Santa Claus. And the mother says, Tom, you didn't realize that Henry is composing video games. And he's been looking for someone to score some of his video games.
Oh, God, I got the chills. That's great.
Tom goes, oh my God, oh my God. So the two of them start talking. And then I say to Tom, and I will never forget this as long as I live, I go, Tom, go out onto the cart, get the gift we got for Henry. And Tom looks at me like you would look at me, go, they're all wrapped gifts. What the hell I know? So he looked at me, goes, just go get the gift. Comes back with a box. And he puts it on the bed, and the kid starts screaming. It's a Monopoly game. A Monopoly game of New York City as all the hotels and everything else. The mother and father start sobbing. She said, I told you he was Santa Claus. And she says to Saint Me, you know, Santa, that what Henry does is collect versions of Monopoly games. And this is the only one that he doesn't have. There is a God. I'm getting chills just saying it again.
Yeah, there's a God. And we don't have to know, the things that come through us for other people or for ourselves, because God knows.
God knows. And Tom has, we didn't say a word on the ride home that day. And every time I see him, he always brings that story back. The hand of God. It's helping a lot of other people, not just Al DiGuido and Al's Angels. All of us have the ability to do this and to be in alignment with God, in alignment with his will by loving other people.
Yeah, we just need to be opened up to it because God uses us.
Yep.
You're right. It's not that bolt of lightning that comes from heaven. It's the bolt of lightning that's inside of each one of us that connects us. And that's what's important. Can I tell you that there is a little boy around you who had a brain tumor? Because I keep hearing blastoma. He's around you with two angels, okay? And he has his hand on your heart, okay? Do you know who I'm talking about?
There's a number of boys.
Okay, but this one was maybe 6 or 7, okay?
Yeah.
And he has his hand on his heart and the two angels are on either side of him, because he wants you to know that this is the gift he's giving you. Okay, he's bringing through the love to you, and that's important. He's also with an older woman. Okay.
Yep.
And I feel like she's related to you, though. There's an older woman that's related to you. And all I keep hearing is, we're proud because you raised us up. You raised us up into another realm by what you're doing. You have been one of my most beautiful guests, because not only are you so blessed, but you're sharing the blessings with the entire world. I feel so honored to be able to just speak
the
to
honor is mine to be able to, you giving me this opportunity to share it with you and with other people, hopefully, and to hopefully inspire.
Yes, I think so. Well, how can people get in touch with you, become volunteers, or maybe they are in need and they need help?
Yep. So my email address is DiGuido. It's ADIGUIDO at yahoo.com. That's how they can get a hold of me. If they want to volunteer, they go up on alsangels.org. And we have a site there that gives you an opportunity to volunteer. You can either volunteer there or you can make a donation. I can tell you, so I appreciate that opportunity. I appreciate anyone who wants to get involved. We're constricted by the people we have, the finances we have. There are a lot more people that we don't touch that are in need. And our goal always has been to reach as many people as we possibly can that are in need with this message and with this love. So, like I said, there's no bureaucracy. We don't get big donations from, major organizations. We do get donations, but we're getting them from the regular people, which is all of us. So yeah, we love the help and we love the support. And what I really want to speak to young people, because that's kind of one of the things I think about all the time. We're trying to ingrain in the younger generation. This may be the reason I have gray hair, but we're trying to ingrain in the younger generation the need and the responsibility to love other people and to help other people. It's great that you're consumed by your life and what you're doing, sports and everything else. All you need is just a little bit of space, just a little bit of time, because we're not all going to live to be 200 years old. And this effort, I wish it would all be cleared up. It's not going to be cleared up. We need to be able to have a generation of people who step up. And I'm blessed that I have a lot of kids that do this. I want more. I want an army of young people. You can, as long if you can walk, you can help. Okay, literally. So I want them to come and get involved and start to think about this and start to think about things that they can do to help at other times. Because to me, that'll be the real success of the organization. Not that Al DiGuido got a bunch of thousands of people together and we all made contributions. We did that. That's great. We want to make sure this next generation understands it. And it's a really difficult challenge. There's a part of the generation that not interested. But I see it with my grandkids who are all under the age of 11, all. They get it. They get it. And they want to help. And they want to be part of stuff. So I don't care how old you are. Like I said, if you can walk and you're a parent, you want to get involved with your child, please definitely step up. Because we want that. We want them, we live in Westport. It's a town of people that have got well to do. I don't want them ever lose, and so a lot have, lose the responsibility we have as members of the human family to help other people. There's no one else showing up to do this. We're depending on you. We're depending on us to get this done. So please help in any way you can.
And if you're listening to this or watching this and you're a parent with children, please, this could change their life, set their future. I have seen that the millennials and the next generation, they are much better than I feel my generation was at wanting to help. Okay. So, let's bring this forward. This is a movement into greatness. Let's make, not only the human race better, but this country better. You
No
know,
doubt. Yeah.
let's raise it to a place that I don't think it's ever been before.
Yeah, and
So,
and you'll know about me and what I do. I have no politicians, no photo ops. I have none of that stuff involved. I really don't, because most of those people talk a great game. I'm just being honest. Talk a
mhm,
great game, but they don't really show up to
right.
do what needs to be done. This is all about elbow grease and getting work done. It's not easy to fill 3,200 meal bins, wrap 18,000. It's not easy to do that,
Mm-mm,
right? We're going to be delivering. By the way, we did something for COVID this year on Valentine's Day. I'm working with a florist here in Westport, where we're going to be delivering 1,500 single roses wrapped for essential workers in 6, 7 different hospitals on Valentine's, the days leading up to Valentine's Day. That those roses have all got to be wrapped individually. It's not, there's work involved here, but it's great work. It's God's work. It's how you separate yourself from everyone else.
mhm,
Oh, that person's a loving person. That person's a caring. How do you know? Because of what they do.
right, right. And
Oh,
certainly, those frontline workers, we owe them an awful
yeah.
lot.
So we said we do a lot of stuff for the people that are receiving the care. Let's do it for the caregivers.
Mhm.
Let's do it for those people. And we put this thing together very, very quickly and got, a significant amount of people in the alsangels database to donate money for the roses, $5 a rose. We're going to be delivering 1,500 roses. You do the math. We did it in 2 weeks.
That's
We
amazing.
lined
But
up
you
with the
know what?
hospital.
God will bring it through in whatever way. It happens. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
That you were extremely inspiring. I hope that everybody else who watched or listened to the show today received the warmth and the love that Al does put out. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please share and comment and be sure to subscribe to all our channels, YouTube and our podcast channels so that you never, ever, ever miss an episode. Thank you so much, Al. I so
God
appreciate
bless
it.
you, Anna. Thank you very
God
much.
bless
God
you.
bless.